What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well on this Sunday afternoon, guys. I am heading out. Got a few things to do, man. A few more things to do today. Well, pretty much working all through the rest of the day when it boils down to it. Trying to get some things done. But man, last night, yesterday evening, went to a show in Eastonollee, Georgia. Had my man John Shooter Hargrove on the side of me. You know, hey, we rolling down to Eastonollee, Georgia. You know, I needed to change a tire. Didn't have any idea what was up with the tire, but something was going on. I thought it was pretty much, oh snap. Let me turn off that, pretty much turn off my radio that just popped on. But I thought I had to align my car, man. It was just acting crazy, but it was a bad tire, and I was trying to get that checked out yesterday. Everywhere that I went was kind of busy, man, but you know, hey, and I had to do some things with my mom and a couple other things that pretty much stopped me from pretty much concentrating on that. So I ended up driving down to Georgia, and you could tell something's going on with the tire. And we drove down to Eastonollee, Georgia for this wrestling show. And man, I'm like, wow, it's gonna be bad if this show is not good. If I don't like this show, man, I'm gonna regret every single bit of this driving down to Eastonollee, Georgia. But the show came out to be very well. Man, you talking about wrestling. That was wrestling last night. Last night was wrestling. That was a wrestling show. Very happy that we was able to make it down there. But as we left the show, we coming down the road, and I mean, well, you know, we coming up the road, heading back to South Carolina. And man, my car, then, we heard something go thump, thump, thump. I'm like, what in the world is that? And, you know, John was like, sound like your tire, man. Got out, hey, flat tire on the side that was having trouble. And, you know, that tire was going flat, back and forth. And, you know, I had figured out maybe it is the tire before we had left instead of the alignment. But yeah, it was the tire. You know, the tire had some, it had some bumps in it, it had some, some pretty much knots in it or whatever. So, that tire went flat. Called our friend Scott Green, man. Scott Green came out, rescued us, and pretty much, came out, helped, pretty much change, he changed the tire. He's a truck driver. He changed a lot of tires and everything. He came out and changed the tire. That's something that I didn't want to actually do. I have changed tires like that too, where it was on a hill. We was on kind of like a hill and everything, but he was like, this is good. And he went ahead and changed the tire. So, hey, and everything was copacetic, man. We got on our way and everything, went down and pretty much pumped up the spare, and we on our way back. But when it boils down to it, we had a great night, man. We saw some great wrestling, and even though we had that delay and the tire went flat, I'm happy with everything that transpired, and I will have a rundown, man. I will talk about that and probably bring John Hargrove on too. I will be talking about that probably within a couple days, if not later today, because we actually got to Georgia late, and we missed probably a few different matches. We saw like the last 4 matches, and I tell you, the last 4 matches, it just reminded me of what wrestling supposed to be. When it boils down to it, I'm not saying anything bad. That's not me saying things bad about what's going on in wrestling today. But what I'm basically saying is, I drive out. Me, myself, and Christopher Burton, we have drove to dozens. I mean, what I'm talking about, dozens, hundreds. Let's just say hundreds of wrestling shows we have drove to in the 4 years that we have been doing the Straight Up Wrestling Show. So we've been to a lot of different shows over and over again. I have driven to a lot of different shows. Me, myself, Christopher Burton, and when Danny Paris, our man Danny Paris, was here, we went to a lot of different shows. And I saw some good. Most of them was good. But too many of them was bad. Just put it that way. So a lot of very bad shows. And some shows where just me and Christopher Burton went ourselves, and a couple of them, a few of them I went to just by myself. And a lot of these shows were supposed to be, these big time shows had great talent on these shows, guys, but the show didn't live up to what it was advertised to be. Let's just put it that way. The advertisement, the hype was more than what the show was actually. When everything came down to the combatants in the ring and how everything was displayed, it was a failure. You know, a lot of these shows have been failures. And a lot of times, you know, when it boils down to it, I'm not blaming it on the matches themselves, or I'm not blaming it on the wrestlers themselves. A lot of times it's where these matches are placed in the card. I mean, when it boils down to it, I mean, it's just like when it comes to wrestling and how to place matches in the card, it's just like somebody being a DJ, or somebody pretty much being a concert promoter, a music promoter or something like that, you know, promoting a music event at a venue. You have to know what groups to put on first, what acts to put on first and last. You have to know how to do that. You just do. And the DJ example is my favorite to use. And yes, I was a DJ. That's how I started out in entertainment when it boiled down to it. I loved a DJ. But it's an art to DJing. It really is. If you want to, it depends on what kind of DJ you are. If you're one of these DJs that want to keep the crowd moving, keep the dance floor packed, and I'm talking about back when I was growing up and before then, you know, I'm not in these clubs now. I see, you know, these kids out here, they doing their own thing, man. They doing their own thing. And I know, of course, some of them are dancing or whatever, but you know, I see some different things than what I saw from back when I was growing up. But the thing is with DJing, you have to know how to keep that crowd moving. You have to know when to put certain songs on, when to slow it down, when to speed it up, when to, you know, make, you know, a medium there, you know, songs that have a mid tempo. You have to know when to do that if you want to keep people on that dance floor, or keep the vibe going in the whole room. You want people to leave that party or leave that club and say, man, that DJ was rocking, because the DJ is the main thing, man. As far as you know, as far as in these clubs or in these parties, as far as keeping everything, you know, everything jiving, man, everything vibing. Let's not say jiving. Juke and Jive, man. Markeem McQueen, the Juke and Jive Queen. And give a shout out to Dion Johnson too, man. You know, these guys like the Juke and Jive. But you know, hey, all that jiving and all that stuff back when I was growing up in the 70s, that was a big thing. That was a big thing. Some, you know, I guess you could say rolled over into the 80s. But if you want to put it as far as wrestlers go, if you want to throw the wrestling, you know, you want to throw that in with wrestling lingo, I guess you could pretty much go to people like Pistol Pez Watley, who was juking and jiving. You could go to Dusty Rose, who he got into the juking and jiving. But man, a lot of black wrestlers, Rufus R. Freight Train Jones, but you had some white wrestlers, Bugsy McGraw and people like that got into it too. But yeah, the juking and jiving thing, man, it was just flat out crazy. And we got some wrestlers that's out here doing it today, man. They keeping this thing going. But you know, overall, just wanted to get on here and speak to you, everyone, for just a little while, and tell you that, hey, last night I saw wrestling. That was wrestling. But I'll talk to you guys a little bit later. And hey, when I come back on here, probably have my hair off. I'll probably be bald headed or whatever. I think I'm gonna cut all this hair off and everything. So if I get everything done tonight, I will be on doing the show, and hopefully I'll be on with Christopher Burton. We'll talk to you guys later. Stay straight up. Peace.